Whitlow, fake to him. Whitlow rolling right on a keeper. Up across the 15, cuts left at the 20, on the room at the 30. Headed to the near sideline, one man to beat. Makes the move at midfield. Coming to the near side at the 30. He's at the 20. He's at the 10. 5. Touchdown, Kentucky!
We are on another episode of Believe in Kentucky, everybody. Got Vinny Hardy here. Jalen is not in this week. Aaron Gershon from the Cat's Paw is not in this week, but we got UK royalty in the building, a friend of the podcast. Y'all know him well. 46 games, 189 catches, 2,376 yards, 25 touchdowns. Got his little Keenan coming in here as well. We got Keenan Burton and young Mr. Burton. How y'all doing this evening?
Good, man. Good.
I've seen pictures of you before, man. You don't know who I am, but I've seen pictures of you and your dad holding you up at the Hall of Fame ceremony and all that good stuff. So I've seen you before, man. Good looking young fella, man. Young fella.
Thank you.
And I didn't know he was going to join me. He came in my office. So, I mean, you got both of us tonight. He'll be quiet so we can get through it. And then if you ask him questions, he'll answer them.
All right. We can, well, I work. Hey, stay ready. In case I ask you something, you won't be, stay ready. We'll have to get ready. What's your name, first of all?
Kaysen.
Kaysen. All right.
It's called Ace.
Okay. Kaysen Ace Burton. All right. Good stuff, man. So it's almost it's similar to Keenan, but it's not after you, but it's close though.
It's close, man. Listen, when I knew I wanted a son from the time I was in high school, and to be honest with you, I didn't want to put the pressure of what I've accomplished onto him because I wanted him to create his own legacy, and he's going to do his own thing. And regardless if it's football, if it's basketball, if it's school, if it's success in business, he's going to do his own thing. And so, I couldn't name him after me. I wanted to, but he's got to blaze his own path.
I understand completely because I'm a third. So I had my grandfather, my father, and myself. But I got two boys of my own, almost 16, almost 12. There's no fourth.
There you go.
It stopped with me, and not that I'm, I don't. Not that I'm mad that I'm a third, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm not going to keep that going. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop it,
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
It makes sense.
For sure. Well, glad to have you on, Kaysen. And you got a good dad. You probably already know it. Man, you'll realize it the older you get, that you got a good dad and a good mom. So I always appreciate that, man.
He always tells me that all the time.
Hey. That means you've been listening to what he's saying. Good deal, man. Good deal. But Keenan, man, we coming off of this big top 10 win at Oxford. You know a thing or two about beating some top 10 teams. So how'd you feel seeing Kentucky get it done at Oxford Saturday?
To be honest with you, man, it was refreshing. I think with us traditionally, we get into these games and we come up short. You know what I mean? And to see us actually get it done the way that we did, I'm a huge believer in Mark Stoops. I'm a huge believer in what it is that he's doing. I was super excited, man. Like literally was out in my backyard. I had a business card that I was on, going back and forth to our media room, trying to watch the game, have some friends over, and everybody's going crazy. So I'm very proud and excited to be a part of
it. Yeah, and like talk about coming up short, the games that rip our hearts out, so many times, the LSU, everybody plays that thing over and over on the loop. My dad, speaking of, which he passed 3 years ago, he was at that game, and he talked about, he said, I had my foot halfway over the rail, fixing to climb over, and then I just put my foot down and walked out of the state.
But it's crazy because back in 2007, we should have beat Tennessee at home. Right?
Oh, man, yeah.
And John Kitchen, one of my good friends, he said the same thing. I had my foot halfway over, ready to jump out there, celebrate, and we just couldn't get it done.
That's it. So I grew up in Southeast Kentucky, right where Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia all come together. So my dad, my sister, myself, during the streak, it's like we're gonna be there. We're going to every game, every Kentucky Tennessee game, Lexington, Knoxville, until it happens. So we were there at the 07 game. It was
okay.
It was on the field. You know how cold it was. So
yeah.
And same thing in Knoxville. The year Lane Kiffin was there, they beat us in overtime that year, I think 30-24 or something like that. So to finally storm that field with 10-7 Matt Roark, man, it was,
it's amazing. Amazing feeling. Yes, absolutely.
For sure. So yeah, you talk about how refreshing it was Saturday. Oh, and let's just talk about the 4th and 7 to Barion, man. I mean, come on, let's go on and get to the first of all, for Stoops to call it and then the go route. Let me just get your thoughts, man.
So I've gotten a chance to have some conversations with Bush, and listen, I know he was at Boise State in 06, 07, and we talked a little bit when I went to the facility. And I don't mean any disrespect for any listeners, but you got to have some big balls to call that play on 4th and 7, knowing if you don't convert, the game is over. I mean, literally it's 4th and 7, obviously, but they're literally inside. I think they were inside their 20. We were inside their 20. We were on, our own 20, and we converted that. And Barion made an amazing play. But what I want to say first and foremost, because I've not necessarily been critical, but I've been very supportive of Dane Key, and I'm super excited and proud to be able to commend him on the game that he had. I mean, he had an amazing game. I mean, you could tell that the game plan was to come out and get him the ball. So I was super excited to see that.
Yeah, and he stringed together good games. I mean, 100-yard games. Saturday, the game before against Ohio is. From your perspective, is that the sign of a guy that's maybe the light's going off? He's figuring things out when you kind of see that, or?
I do. I mean, anytime you're able to consistently do something positive, I just think that when you do good things happen. I tell my son that all the time. When you do good things happen. So the more good he does, the more success that he has. I think that's gonna, create success. Whether that be me, whether that had been Dickie Lyons, whether that had been Stevie Johnson, whether that had been DeMario Ford, whomever it was, once you see them get the cooking, that's just what, what I'm saying, that's just what is to come.
So do you like playing wide receiver, Casey? Is that your favorite spot on the field? Or what's your favorite?
Quarterback.
Oh, okay.
So Casey's trying to follow in Andre Woodson's steps, and he's really good. He's really good. So
I'll look him up.
You looked him up?
He's good. I looked on my computer. I searched up how to you get good at UK. And then I just saw I just saw this word pop up, and it said Andre Wilson was the QB.
Yeah.
It was good. It was really good.
So, oh, my bad.
Nah, he's good.
Well, talk about Dre's demeanor, man. Was he just that chill all the time? Was he okay?
No. Dre is Dre's emotional, but it's a good emotional, if that makes sense. One of the things that I can say about Andre Woodson is that he prepared, like really prepared. The jump from when we came in as freshmen to our junior and senior year together as redshirt juniors and seniors was huge. Andre is the best. I'm biased, one of the best, but to me, because we made so much magic together,
yeah,
he's the best quarterback to ever play. And I know Tim Couch's numbers, and I have a lot of respect for Tim. Jared, obviously Shane Boyd, my mentor. But because of what Dre and I did together, to me, he is by far the best quarterback to ever play at Kentucky. And he prepared, he worked his butt off, and I wish I could have been a part of his Heisman run. Obviously, I didn't do enough, but I wish I could have been a part of that to help him hoist that trophy up at the end of the season in 2007.
So that's probably every guy's gonna stick with their guy. I guess you're gonna stick with Dre. Craig probably gonna ride for Tim. And there's no disrespect at all intended in any kind of way from anybody.
I think that Tim Couch is the greatest quarterback to ever play at Kentucky. But if you ask me who the best quarterback is, I'm gonna say Dre. Andre Woodson. Andre Woodson. And not only can I brag on Dre, but he has a son that's absolutely incredible as well. He's absolutely ridiculous when it comes to this football thing. And so I'm excited to see what Lil Dre does. He actually is I think he is a third. And Dickie Lyons has a third.
Wow.
That when we get a chance to see them guys, my son won't be able to, he's too young, but he won't be able to play with them. But when we get a chance to see them, it's gonna be special. It's gonna be really special.
Keep on the lookout for them. I gotta pull up a little clip from when you were on with us last year, and we'll try to pull the video up because it's a you said what you said moment. And I was at a fork in the road from when you said it last year. I was like, do I follow up on it now or just let the conversation go where it's going? And so I didn't follow up on it, and I was like, well, I'll just ask him about it next time I have him on. So we were talking about Dane and Barion, and we already mentioned Craig Yeast. So let me see if I can pull up what I'm talking about right now, because this was going into last year. Actually, it was the SEC Media Days from 2023, and that's when we had you on, and you were talking about Dane and Barion. And let's see here. Here we go.
I'm excited to see exactly what they do and how they function, and I'm probably Dane and Barion's biggest fans. I hope that they go out there and break every single record that I have or that Craig has, because he's the only one ahead of me, and he's not better than me at all. I'll say that on camera. Not even close.
So you said that Craig's not better than you, even though, and it's not even close. You're second in all the stats and all that. So does this conversation happen every time you see Craig? Is it always this little back and forth about who's a better receiver or something? Or
No. So me and Craig, he coached my cousin at Kentucky Wesleyan for a year before my cousin transferred. But we don't have the conversation. And I'm sure Craig would say the same thing. Obviously I know that I'm in the top two and I'm not number two. And I'm never going to come off of it, but listen, I think every single successful player or receiver that's ever played at Kentucky should feel the same way. I believe that Wan'Dale Robinson should feel like he's number one. Stevie Johnson should feel like he's number one. Dickie should feel like he's number one. I think that, Ali, he should feel like he's number one. Anybody, Craig, it's the same thing. Anybody that's ever put that blue and white on and has success, if you don't believe that you're number one, you don't have a pulse. And I'm not the arrogant guy. I've never been that. I believe that I'm an extremely humble person, but I know the work that I put in. I know that if it hadn't been for my injuries in the NFL, I probably would have played 10 plus years in the league because of my work ethic and what I did. So when it comes to Kentucky, I'm definitely in the top three. I'm not three and I'm not two.
You're one.
That's what that means, ain't that right, Casey? Exactly what that means.
He's not two, he's one.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, like everybody should feel that way. So, I get it.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't say that. I didn't follow up. I was like, and then so I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, I just asked you about it because I didn't know if it was a little, not beef, but like you and Craig talking, a little back and forth. He tried.
Yeah, me and Craig really don't talk. I don't really talk to Craig at all. But there's no beef. I mean,
yeah.
Craig is one of the giant shoulders that I'm standing on. So I'll always have a level of respect for him. You know what I'm saying? Randall Cobb is the same way. But if you ask Randall Cobb, not only is he one of the best athletes that ever played at Kentucky, in his mind, he's one of the best quarterbacks and receivers that ever played, if not the best in his mind. And he can argue that. And if he didn't argue it, I would be very disappointed.
Yeah.
I'd be very disappointed.
So we talking with Coach Hamden a little bit already. What have you seen with Coach Shorts coming in at the receiver position? Have you seen the impact that he's already been able to have, or have you gotten to talk with him as well? Because he's a young guy, young coach. And
that's tough. That's tough because he's got 1 year with them. Barion and Dane are who they are. They're who they are. They've always been that. Obviously Dane struggled catching the ball last year. That's not a secret. He would probably say the same thing. But I think maybe what he's done is he's come in and helped bring focus to their game. But Barion's been who he is. I mean, I was able to watch the Louisville game last year, and Barion, without the kickoff return, we don't win it. But my point is, I don't know how much of the impact of him coaching is outside of the Kentucky culture that Stoops has created, at Kentucky. So I love him. Listen, anybody that's in Kentucky that's doing what they're doing at a high level, it is what it is. But I can't give him credit for what Barion and Dane are doing because of the coaching staff that they had before, especially with Liam being there and having the NFL pedigree and what, he instilled in them.
That's fair. So when you look at attributes as a receiver, obviously catch the ball first, but and you can add maybe if I'm forgetting something, but how would you rank them, or what's more important to you outside of that when it comes to route running, downfield blocking, yards after catch, contested catches? Because what if you had to?
I mean, so every part of being a receiver is important, the play part. But one of the things that you learn at a young age, and what my son understands is that, football is 90% mental, 10% physical, right? And so the most important aspect to me is how mentally tough you are on the football field. Forget position. When I look at the game, when I look at Barion, when I look at Dane, Dane is more so, would I say he's a deep threat? Not necessarily, but can he go deep? Yes. So he's got to catch the ball in traffic. He's got to have good hands. He's got to be able to run routes. That was me. Was I a blazer? No. But could I run deep? Absolutely. I did it a lot. Barion is more of a deep threat. He's not necessarily a route runner. And that doesn't matter because you look at different receivers, like Terrell Owens was never a route runner, but he was a football player. Barion and Dane, they're football players. So I don't have a level that I grade or rank receivers on based on a specific skill that they have. Can you go out and make a play, and can you help us win games? Or can you help your team win games? Forget us as fans, because that's exactly what I am. But can you go out and help your team win games, and can you do it consistently? So that's a mentality. That's the mentality. It's never about how you do anything is what?
How you do everything. So
can you do things consistently every time? You know what I'm saying? Can you be the leader that your team needs? Can you do that? And if the answer is yes, then you are the best to me. Dane and Barion, and even some of the other younger guys, they're the best to me because they have that mentality to go out there and kill everything in sight. That's all I care about. Because when Dickie Lyons walked on the field, when Jacob Tammy walked in the field, listen, they was killing everything in sight. Didn't matter who it was. Everybody had to go, and everybody could get it.
Yes, sir. So you had to be proud of Dane's touchdown Saturday, because it was all hands. It was all, because all the way to the ground, dude was fighting for it, and he just had that death grip on the ball, and he didn't let it go. All hands, all strength, and especially coming off of the year last year where you talked about having trouble hanging on to the ball.
Right. So he almost dropped the ball. They had to review it, right? So, my biggest thing is one thing that Joker Phillips was really big on was catching and putting the ball away. He couldn't do it because of whatever the reason was. But ultimately, to see him have that type of game in that space, in that environment, I'm super proud of that boy, man. And he don't know me. You might know he got to look at my face every time he goes in the receiver room. But him and I'm so proud of them boys, man. I just want this team to get over the hump. I want this team to be a part of the top 12 that gets into the college football playoffs this year. Make every Kentucky fan forget about the Keenan Burtons, the Andre Woodsons, the Stevie Johnsons, all of that. Make them forget about us. Go do what you got to do. Be the greatest team that's been ever assembled in Kentucky football history.
And they took a big step to that, and it's everybody kind of was shocked and upset, and the South Carolina game, where they come from, and now this, to take Georgia to the wire, and then follow that up with what they did in Oxford. That's if they bring that every time, they're on their way, right?
Absolutely, and then you got a chance to win every game, and you're not going to play teams as offensively powerful as Ole Miss, and you're not going to play teams that is defensively powerful or offensively powerful as Georgia. So you have an opportunity to win every game that you're in. You just got to go finish it. Now, with that being said, Tennessee is a problem. So we're going to have to show up and play against them. But everybody else on our schedule, excluding nobody, that's including Texas, which we got a dogfight down there, I think, at the end of November.
Yeah.
We got to go play.
Got Eddie in the comments. We're on YouTube and Facebook streaming and on the Believe Podcast Network. Burton is one of my favorite cats. I'm not a huge football guy, but really love that 2007 squad. So see, people ain't forgot you. You talking about how people forget you. Obviously, people ain't forgot you.
Eddie, let me tell you something, man. It's people like yourself that brings me joy, but also force me to give my best effort. 15, almost 20 years later, you say something like that about me means a lot to me. And not only does it mean a lot to me, I have, the second version, I'm going to put on the blue and white at some point if he's blessed to do it, if he works hard enough. So I'll be able to refer back to people like you and say, if you work hard, they'll remember your name. And that's all I cared about. Will people remember me?
And the black and white and the what's it
called? Black and white, the blue and white.
There's something like
we'll figure it out later.
Now, this one thing too, man. This popped in my head. If you were on the squad when remember everything got turned sideways, Terry Wilson gets hurt, Sawyer Smith gets hurt, Lynn Bowden is the quarterback. If you're on that team, how do you approach it? Because the offense has to change. Eddie Grant has to change it on the fly. Not a lot of balls in the air, a lot of downfield blocking. So how is it's 90% mental. So how would you have approached that mentally had you been a part of that?
That's probably one of the best questions that I can't answer because it would be a selfish answer. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
I can answer for you.
Mm-hmm. So I want to say that I would have been a team player in that situation. I want to say that. But I can't because I would have needed to get to the point that I got to in my life. I worked my whole life to just have an opportunity to play in the NFL. That's all I cared about. That's it. That's all I cared about. And that meant providing for my family. That's what that meant. And so that would have been hard for me as a receiver to watch because I know that it would have impacted me a lot. I would have done exactly what I needed to do. I'd have blocked my butt off. I would have made sure that I did what was asked of me. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have complained, but I would have had a problem with it. And it's not Lynn's fault. It's not the OC's fault at the time. It's just that as of right now, I'm looking at the family that I would have had to feed. And so that's my stance on it. You know, we're competitors, man. Regardless of what anybody says, like, I did what was best for the team. I came back as a senior because I felt like, and I was, you know, Wesley Woodyard came to me and he begged me to stay. And I didn't want to. I wanted to leave and pursue my professional career at that time. I wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't my time. And so that's a very difficult question for me to answer because I don't know if I could have accepted it.
Mm. Because your real life situations, like Outcast said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, you know, because it's and you're not trying to be selfish just to be selfish. It's the rest of your life. It's the path, and
correct.
All those dynamics, man. For sure. Going back to, you mentioned everything about, you know, all that you accomplished, and, you know, if your son be successful, and, you know, no matter what he chooses, you chose football. That led you to being inducted in UK Athletics Hall of Fame a couple years ago. Just saw this class get inducted. You know, Jody Meeks on the basketball side, Big CP from Louisville, Corey Peters on the football side.
Easy.
What was it like seeing Corey go in for you?
Man, anytime my teammates get inducted, I'm super proud, man. I was a part of it. I'm not the reason, you know, obviously, but I was a part of it. And Corey's much deserving to be able to have a vote in it, to even have an opportunity to be a part of that happening for, you know, those individuals means a lot to me. And so, you know, it's more special because I know where Corey's from. I know where I'm from. And I know what we went through growing up to get to where we got. And, you know, obviously he took it, you know, much further than I did. But it's definitely a blessing to see.
Yeah. And man, you cracked me up at your speech because you was like, I'm gonna try to make it quick because I gotta pee.
Man, listen, and I was serious. I was like, God, I don't want to leave. I don't want to be rude, but I gotta get off this stage because the bathroom's calling me.
Just keeping it real, man. Keeping it real. Now, everybody know you mentioned play with the Rams. You know, career cut short with injuries. They're probably not where they want to be starting off the season, but I guess, I don't know, do you take a little consolation that the win they got came against those hated 49ers, the way they had to come back and beat them? And is that the team that you hated the most in the division, or was it somebody else back when you were playing?
Back when I was playing, man, let's see, now it sounds old. Back when I was playing. That's craziness. Arizona was the team.
Okay.
Arizona, Larry Fitzgerald, Kurt Warner, Early Doucette was a draft pick there. They had a lot of pieces that were extremely successful. But, you know, Austin Moss is in the front office up there. And he's a really good friend of mine. And he played at Kentucky with us, and he was very successful. I FaceTimed him before the game, and I'm a Rams fan, diehard, because they gave me an opportunity, obviously. But I was pulling for the 49ers for that game because my man,
okay,
you know, my man is there, and it's family over everything. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But no, it was a really good game, man, and I want, you know, the success. I'm actually taking him to a game at some point this year up in December, and I think it's in December. I think we're going up there. But like, it's always fun to be able to see them beat guys in our division. But I want us to hoist that trophy up. I was able to be a part of the Super Bowl here, and enjoy the festivities there, obviously, as well. And that's what I want to see. So there's no moral victories with me. He knows that. Mm-hmm. Either we win or we don't. You win or you lose. That's it. There's no second place. You win or you lose. And losing, there's lessons.
That's it. So, Kason, who is your favorite NFL player right now? Who do you like to watch?
Rams.
Who's your favorite player? Not your favorite.
Stafford.
Oh, okay. Well, that's right. You a true QB, man. You just like you said. So that's your guy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite receiver?
You.
Hey.
So
good answer.
He watches on Netflix QB and receiver, and so he has a couple of receivers that he follows. And Kason plays quarterback, running back, receiver. He plays corner, so he does a lot for his team. Cornerback is DB.
Yeah. Whoa. I play linebacker too.
And he plays linebacker as well on some team. So I'm curious to know who your favorite receiver is. Who's your favorite receiver?
You.
Okay, say no more. Yeah, I'm his favorite receiver. It means a lot. It means a lot.
It. So on that doc, the receiver doc you're talking about, was it Kittle, Debo, Devontae?
St. Brown,
Devontae
Adams, and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. I was going to ask too, because I was going to get your thoughts on the part, because I'm not all the way done with it. But the episode with Devontae, I think he's talking to Max Crosby, and just the handwork getting off a press man in his mind was similar to what D lineman do trying to get O lineman off of him. Do you kind of see that same thing? Did you see the similarities?
I do. I mean, I think Devontae, and I don't know him personally at all, and I give a lot of credit where credit is due. I think Devontae took a lot of things from Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson is the best releasing receiver that I've ever seen in my life. You can't press him. I mean, Darrelle Revis is one of the best corners that I got a chance to face. But I only played against him once. Stevie in his long career played against him multiple times because they were in the same division. Mm-hmm. And so I think Devontae gets a lot of the stuff that he does from Stevie. Stevie was absolutely ridiculous and relentless when it came to releases.
Yeah. And I just happened to see that episode. I knew I had to ask Keenan about that, because he's like, this for me is the same. It's the same thing I do that you do. And you see stuff with old school, John Randall. He was always, always working his moves on air constantly,
Right.
And so just, to stay as sharp as possible. So it was cool to see that. And it was just interesting that he kind of flipped it like that. He said, that's like release work for me. The same thing y'all got to do. That was pretty cool. So we got the bye week, man. We got Vanderbilt coming in, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. How did you approach the buys? Were you happy to see him? Did you want to heal? Or if you're in a nice rhythm, did you want to keep rolling? What was it like for you? And maybe did you approach to the buys change as a younger player as compared to an upperclassman when your last couple of years at Kentucky?
I love the game so much, man. The bye week was just a week of practice for me. You know what I'm saying? But it was good to be able to get back to Louisville on the weekends, see my family, go out, because I didn't really like to party or drink anything like that, but to go out, see my friends, go to a DJ through the roof party. You don't know nothing about that, but go to a DJ through the roof party, and just enjoy myself, kind of let my hair down. So even though we didn't play that weekend, there was just a lot of preparation on trying to get better. One thing that Larry Fitzgerald said to me when I first got into the league was that you got to be obsessed with success. And in order to do anything at a high level, there has to be a form of insanity, because you got to go insane about the thing that you love. And I worked on bye weeks just like it was game weeks. And depending on the year, I was injury prone. Now I can admit it. A lot of times I was really working on recovering and getting healthy. But in that, I got to catch the ball. I got to do something to make sure that I'm keeping my game sharp. I got to watch film. I got to do something. So if I'm them, I'm studying. And if I'm Barion and if I'm Dane, I'm not only looking at my career as a receiver right now at Kentucky, I'm looking at what do I have to do to get my name called in May in the NFL draft on the first day. Mm-hmm. What do I need to do? And that's what I'm focusing on. So I'm approaching it like the job's not finished. Like Kobe said, he said, well, reporter asked him, why are you not smiling? What's there to smile about? The job's not finished. Yeah. We won a game against Ole Miss as we won a game against LSU. Then we turn around and go get beat down in South Carolina against a South Carolina team that's not even close to being as talented as us at that time. Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's it. So what was the draft like for you? That leading up to it, or getting a phone call, or where were you at, or what'd you do?
I've always been grateful, very grateful for being able to have an opportunity, but it was disappointing for me because the year before I could have came out and went in the fourth round as a junior. And because I got hurt as a senior, I missed the game. I missed the Mississippi State game. I got hurt against Florida. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't practice the whole week against Florida State. And so I don't even go over 1,000 yards my senior year when I should have probably went over 1,300 that year. Mm-hmm. And so to come back, kind of, put it on the line for my teammates, be loyal. And then when it's time for me to be selfish, to see it happen the way that it happened, it was disappointing. But I worked my whole life for that. And so my career went exactly how it was supposed to. So the draft went exactly how it was supposed to go. That's what God had for me. That was the experience that I was supposed to experience. So I can't do nothing but be grateful for it. Regardless if I was disappointed or not. It was everything that it needed to be for me.
Yeah. So good way to look at it. Well, I'll circle back to the Hall of Fame. And so we talked about that in your speech and Corey going in. What was it like when you got that call? Because you knew what you did. You knew you were moving on to get drafted. You're moving on and, taking care of your family. Even though senior year, hey, I could have went in this fourth round a year sooner. Only had, I think, 700 some yards your senior year. And so you got all that going on. But I don't know how conscious you were of it, but that's quite a nice resume that you left as you went on to the NFL. I don't know if you at 22 thinking this is UK Athletics Hall of Fame worthy, but as you get away from that and get older and reflect, what was it like when you got the call that, hey, you're fixing to be inducted, back a couple of years ago? What was that like for you?
Validation. I didn't need them to induct me into the Hall of Fame to feel like I did what I was supposed to do and I was one of the most accomplished receivers of all time at Kentucky. I didn't need that. But when I got that, it validated everything that I felt. It's like I'll never get inducted into the NFL Football Hall of Fame. I'll never get inducted into, the Kentucky Pro Football Hall of Fame. I might get inducted into the, Kentucky College Football Hall of Fame. That's the local one. But I've never felt like I've gotten the recognition that I personally deserved. But I'm also a spiritual person, so it's like it's not recognition that was necessary for me. So what's for me is for me. God has always blessed me in the way that He saw fit, and so for me to get that recognition, it validated everything that I did, and I was extremely grateful for it. I thought it was some years too late.
Okay.
But I understand. And I was grateful for even getting the call.
Man, you got good perspective on everything, man. And I always say you can't have perspective till you get perspective, and you got perspective, man. So and it shows just the way you carry yourself and when you're raising your son. Before you go to sleep on this case, and are you a good big brother? Because you got a younger sibling, right? You a good big brother?
She's crazy.
Uh-oh.
She's not crazy. She's bossy.
The bossy one, I'm the sneaker.
Hey, I had a younger sister. She's almost 3 years younger than me, so I know how it is. I try to be a good big brother. And if I'm being real, she's a good big sister too. I mean, she's a good little sister, even though
She is a good little sister, but she be slapping people in. And she
now I don't know if your dad does this, but when me and my sister were young and little, my dad would tell my little sister to go get me. She'd be like, Terry, go get him. Like, and he would try to tell her to go chase me and try to, she's like, Terry, get him. So my dad would try to get that little stuff started to have us going at it when we was little. I don't know if your dad does that, but that's what my dad used to do.
Hey, man, I got to make my kids tough, man. I ain't got no choice. Hey, baby girl got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's it. So he would he'd say, Terry, get him. And I don't know, she's 3 and I'm 6, and here she come running.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all part of it, man. All part of it. Well, I can't thank y'all enough for hopping on here. Kason, nice to meet you. And yes, sir, man. Appreciate you hopping on here with Dad, talking about your favorite quarterback, saying your dad is your favorite receiver. Just so much fun stuff we talked about tonight, man. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Man, I had a great time, man. And anytime, I apologize I couldn't I know we were supposed to get on a while ago, but my schedule just wouldn't work. So I'm glad we got a chance to connect.
Yeah, for sure, man. Don't even worry about it. Just honored to have you. And got one more little comment right here. You or him, dude, you were great. Everyone I know always puts you in top 5. Absolutely, because you second in everything. For real. So
Craig knows Cobby, man. I appreciate that, man. And like I said, man, it's people like y'all that bless me. And I just got one hope that if my son comes and puts on that Kentucky blue, y'all cheer for him like y'all cheered for me.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get this all up on Believe.com, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter. Might even send it to your dad so you can see yourself on YouTube, Kason. If you want to, we can do that too.
I do. I've been waiting to be on YouTube so long.
All right, man. For all these years, man. Yeah, you an old man now, but you about to be on there.
He's a trip, man.
Hey, we enjoyed it, y'all.
Yes.
We'll put a bow on this one. It's Believe in Kentucky, Believe Podcast Network. For Kason, Keenan, this is Vinny, and we'll see everybody next week. Y'all be safe, everybody.